The three Cappadocian Fathers are Basil the Great, who lived between 329 to 379 AD, his brother Gregory of Nyssa, who lived between 335 to 394 AD, and his friend Gregory of Nazianzus, who lived between 330 to 389 AD. Basil and Gregory of Nyssa lived in the same household, where they were heavily influenced in their theology and spirituality by their sister Macrina, who consecrated herself to Christ after the passing away of the man she was betrothed to. Basil received education to be a lawyer and an orator with his friend Gregory of Nazianzus. Under the influence of Macrina, Basil became an ascetic, then a priest, until he became bishop of Caesarea in 370 AD. Basil was dedicated to the Nicene cause, along with the expansion of ministry for the poor and marginalized, and the geographical expansion of his diocese to prevent Arian bishops from rising to influential ecclesial ranks. In the course of the geographic expansion of his diocese, Basil appointed his brother Gregory a bishop over Nyssa, where he spent the rest of his life serving until he was exiled out of the empire. Gregory of Nyssa, unlike his brother, was a married man, a philosopher, and a mystic. Gregory believed in universal salvation, though he was not anathematized with Origenists in the Fifth Ecumenical Council, who followed Origen's view on universal salvation. Gregory of Nyssa may be described as a man of sorrows, as he lived through the death of the most influential figures of his life, his brother Basil and his sister Macrina. Gregory of Nazianzus was also known as Gregory the Theologian, the title only given to him and John the Evangelist in the Oriental Orthodox churches, and to Simeon the new theologian as well in the Eastern Orthodox Church. After finishing his studies with Basil, Gregory sought solitude and became an ascetic. His ascetic life was interrupted by his father, Gregory the Elder, who needed assistance in shepherding his flock. As such, Gregory the Theologian became involved in the ecclesial life. He moved between different dioceses like Nazianzus and Constantinople, which was not accepted by other bishops as it opposed the decrees of Nicaea. Gregory accepted the disapproval of some bishops who opposed his shifts of jurisdiction, and he returned to live an ascetic life toward the end of his life. Basil, with Gregory the Theologian, compiled the Philokalia of Origen. Basil composed a treatise on the human condition, another titled 6 Days of Creation, or the Hexameron, and a defense on the doctrine of the Holy Spirit. Gregory of Nyssa composed biographies such as The Life of Moses and The Life of Macrina. He composed a number of theological writings such as the Great Catechism, On the Soul and Resurrection, Against Eunomius, The Creation of Man, and On Virginity. Gregory the Theologian is mostly known for his orations and numerous letters. His 5 theological orations are what earned him the title theologian.